Merhabalar herkese.
Hello to everyone and welcome. My name is Sedat Kanat. Probably you might not know me. I am a psychologist working in the Turkish Spastic Children's Foundation. Why are we here? We have come in here during the preparation of this symposium program. In order to have an inclusive, we wanted to ensure that every stakeholder involved in this process. So for that is academicians, experts working on the field, in the field, and our partners from abroad, as well as the individuals with special needs. We wanted to include them within this process, and we wanted to make them included so that our awareness level would be increased and our awareness as a whole would be increased. So for that reason, we paid attention to this issue, and when we wanted to, when we made a request from them, they accepted us, and thank you very much for spending time for us. And today, we will be listening to our colleagues and their stories about their inclusion into the society. And once again, thank you very much to all. Thanks to all of them. First of all, I would like to introduce Miss Ece Engür. She was born in 1999. Currently, she lives in Izmir. Her primary and secondary education has been accomplished as an inclusion student, and currently she works as a waitress. And in order to facilitate, Bilge Arslan will be accompanying her. And now I would like to give the floor to Ece Engül.
Merhaba,
Hello,
ben
my name is Ece Engül.
yaşındayım.
I'm 22 years old.
Size eğitim hayatımdan bahsedeceğim.
And I will talk about myself.
Eğitim hayatıma ilk okulum Vali Kutlu Aktaş. İlk okulu ile başladım.
I started my primary school, and then
okuluna gittim.
I was educated in a secondary school.
Meslek lisesinde okudum.
I was educated in vocational high school,
Önce pastacılık bölümünde okudum.
and I learned how to make cakes.
İçecek
And
bölümünde
then
okudum.
I was educated in the beverages
Lise üçte
department.
ise
While I was a senior in high school,
Derneği aracılığı ile
Vay.
Portekiz'de staj yaptım.
I had my internship in Portugal through the means of Turkish Down Syndrome Association. And
Staj yaptım.
I graduated from the high school, and then I had my internship in a restaurant. My hobbies are to swim, to dance, to listening to read book, and to travel. And in meanwhile,
Oraya gidip
I also do sports activities.
olarak çalışıyorum. Vali Kutlu Aktaş Okulu benim ilk okulum.
Uh,
Güzel bir
My
okuldu.
primary school was a great school.
Öğretmenlerim çok iyiydi.
My teachers were great,
Arkadaşlarım da
and my
çok
class
güzeldi.
mates were really great,
Derslerim de iyiydi.
and my subject scores were good.
Çalışmak için notlar hazırlıyordum.
And I was taking down notes to study my lessons.
Biraz zoruyordu.
And these were rather difficult.
Sınav sorularını önceden biliyordu.
The exam questions were given in advance to me, and then I would work and study for certain questions, but still I had some difficulties.
Çok iyiydi.
My classmates were great.
Ve Emir diye bir arkadaşım
I have a friend of mine called Enes.
Onunla hala görüşüyorum.
I still have contact with my primary school.
Müzik öğretmenim şarkı söylemeyi çok sevdiğimi fark etti.
My musical teacher, music teacher was aware that I liked singing. And in the events,
Ara tutulmaya başladım.
I started joining the chorus. On 23rd of April, I was attending the 23rd of April events,
Koraya katıldım.
and I participated in a chorus.
Ortaokuluna geçtim.
And then I started going to the secondary school,
Çok güzeldi.
and that secondary school was great, and I was getting good grades from my examinations. But it was, of course, difficult.
Orada da soruları veriyorlardı. Ben çalışıp geliyordum.
And I was studying my
Bana
lessons.
feda olarak veriyorlardı. Bu okulda da Koraya katıldım.
And then in the secondary school, I also participated in a chorus,
Marş söylüyordum.
and I was singing a march,
Şarkı söylemeyi çok seviyordum.
and I liked singing.
Katıldım.
So for that reason, I participated in the chorus.
Ortaokuldan sonra
After the secondary school, I started my education in high school,
daha zordu.
and the high school was harder.
Bazı arkadaşlarım aramazdı. Derslerde sürekli konuşuyorlardı.
My classmates continuously spoke in the classroom, and sometimes they teased with me,
Ama ben hiçbir zaman takmadım.
but I never paid attention to them.
Sınıf arkadaşlarımla aram pek iyi değildi.
I did not have good relations with my classmates. Sometimes
Dersleri anlaması
Sometimes I had difficulty understanding lessons,
hocalarıma söylüyordum.
and I was complaining to my teachers about these situations.
Öğrencileri.
And then the teachers would try to keep the classroom quiet. And when I did not understand the lesson and asked my teacher, they would explain once again. And the teachers were very good at me. Good to me, sorry.
Çok seviyorum.
And I like my teachers, still love my teachers.
İletişimleri iyiydi.
And we have good communications with them
İyi öğrenmem için
in order for me to learn better.
arkadaşlarımın beni rahatsız etmem
The teachers were warning my classmates not to disturb me while I was taking their note. My classmates would be teasing me. But then in time I started not paying attention to them. And then I could focus on my subjects. But there was good thing that there was another classmate who had Down syndrome like me. Her name is Pelin. Together we were spending time together. And she was my friend. And she was my closest friend. Still, we have contact with her. And we understood each other. And meanwhile, in the high school, we were together. There were some bazaar days and festivals, and I participated all at those events as well. And also, I had a traineeship in high school, and I worked in a restaurant. And it was related to the beverages and meals.
Sonra buradan tam kadroya girdim.
And then I was accepted as the staff member of the staff, and I started working. And for 3 years,
Bu restoranda çalışmaya
I have been working in this restaurant.
özet olarak
As a summary,
eğitim hayatım genel olarak iyi geçti.
my education was in general good.
Bir de Pelin'in olması benim için çok güzeldi.
If
Diğer arkadaşlarım da bana dahi davranabilirdi.
having Pelin in the high school was good for me,
Ders çalıştım.
I worked and studied,
Merak ettirdim.
and I participated at chorus activities. Now
Bir şekilde bir işte çalışıyorum.
I'm working as an independent person in a job. I have a job as an independent person.
Dinlediğiniz için
I thank you very much to all of you for listening.
Çok teşekkürler Ece Hanım.
Thank you, Miss Ece.
İçinde birçok zenginliği ve
I
çeşitliliği
think
barındıran bir hikayeydi. Yani
This is a story with diversity and difficulties, the attitudes of the teachers and the attitudes of the classmates. There were very important feedbacks, and now she's an individual, an independent individual. So it means that the children, the individuals with special needs, with support, can progress a lot. And thank you very much for the contribution. Is there anything that Ms. Bilge would like to add? If there is anything, we would like to welcome that. Thank you. Ece actually explained herself very well. She told about her schools, and she also told us that she has a job now. And in high school, she had another colleague of hers, like her, and apart from being an inclusion student, she told that she has good communication with another colleague of hers, and she all provided information. And I also thank to Miss Ece, and I thank you very much for selecting me. Now, Ekin Karahan will be with us, and he will tell about his journey. And just I would like to introduce him. He was born in 1993 until 2012. He has received physiotherapy training treatment, and he was graduated from Bilkent from the Department of Economy, and then he worked for United Nations projects, and then in 2014, as a result of 21 years of physiotherapy, rather than focusing on physical works or exercises, then he started working Zen Buddhism to focus on mental issues, and now he isolates himself for 1 month every year, and then he contacts with masters in the world. And I would like to leave the floor to him, and thank you very much for his valuable contributions. Hello, my name is Ekin Karahan.
Şimdi şöyle ben
So,
28 yaşındayım. Sen de bitirdim dediğim gibi ama tabii bu 28 yılda hep böyle bir Türkiye'de engelli bir birey olmak kolay değil.
it's not very easy to be a disabled person in Turkey, in Turkish community, and within this process you see a lot of things. What I'm going to be telling you is actually related to my own observations. Actually, every disabled individual is another life, and what is right for one could not be right for the other one.
Başarılı bir hayatı engelli olmayan insanlara
Actually, the problem, the issue is that we take into consideration the normal people, and then we define ourselves accordingly as disabled people. What happens is that the person is born, goes to school, and develops, and then educates himself or herself, and then has a job. But for 5 or 6 years in my environment,
hayatı böyle yaşayan çoğu insan başarılı gibi gözüküyor.
although such people seem that they are successful doing like these things, it doesn't. It is not the thing.
Eğer bu hayatta huzurlu ve mutlu olamıyorsam
If I'm not peaceful and I am not happy in this life, what is it then?
referans noktamızı ve başarı tanımımızı bence yanlış yerlere koymalıyız.
Perhaps we place the reference points and success points in wrong places. After I graduated from university,
Kopenhag Üniversitesi'ne master'a gittim.
I
Ben de hiç mutlu olmadım.
I went abroad and I was not happy there
Depresyondaydım ve
because I was in depression.
okuyan bütün arkadaşlarımız ben master'ı bıraktığım için bana sinirlendiler.
I went abroad for my master's degree, but I quit it. And the ones who saw that I quit it were angry with me, but they didn't have the braveness to quit it. When I came back to Ankara, I closed myself in a room, and I recommend to my every colleague. It's a good study. I took a pen and paper, and then I wrote down what kind of a person I am, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are my objectives, and what kind of a life I want, and how it is possible that I can be happy by doing what, and what kind of a life I am aiming.
Her engelli bireyin
Actually,
eğitim öğretim hayatına başlamadan, bir yola baş koymadan yapması gereken şeyler.
this is actually important that every disabled individual should do this before starting the life, because we are so busy with the people around us, what they are doing. So for that reason, we cannot understand and see what is our status within the community.
Ama bence ilk şey eğitim
Perhaps the first thing is that before having receiving education, the person should acquaint himself with the pros and cons. 40 years ago, my parents had 4 years of education in the university, and accordingly, with this university education, they can do a certain business for 40 or 50 years, but this is no longer possible. And the process goes likewise. After the university education is done, you come across with an experience in certain job, and then you get another training, and then another training, because the validity of the training that you acquire is over within 4 or 5 years, and the person has to update himself herself. Actually, this is my own observation, and for this, actually, the person should be able to learn whatever you say. The university education, whatever it is, it could be a tailor, becoming a tailor, it is important to learn something because
öğrendiği zaman
the person when learns how to learn, then
koşullar ne olursa olsun
whatever the conditions are,
öğrenme olayı insana koşulları
learning how to learn enables the person to adapt himself to that environment and conditions.
kolay bir şey mi?
And
Doğru
of course,
ama
this is not very easy. It's very difficult.
kesinlikle yapılmalı.
It's whether it should it be done? Yes, certainly it should be done.
Yani başkalarının yaptığı şeylerin aynısını yaparak artık hayatta fark yaratmak. Yani
Actually,
yapmaktan siz ne anlarsanız.
to create difference by doing the same thing what others do,
Tatmin olmak. Anlar mıyım?
and to be satisfied with this.
Ama başkaları yaptığı şeylerin aynısını yaparak bunu yapmak artık mümkün.
So it's no longer possible that creating difference by doing whatever is the other doing, whatever the others doing the same.
Para kazanmak ve iyi bir hayat. Bu
And of course, it's important to
yanlış değil ama
earn money and this survive. It's not completely right or it's not completely wrong either.
birisi de şu yoldan yürü ve başarılı olacaksın dediğinde o insanın kendi bakış açısıyla, kendi algısıyla ve kendi normlarıyla size sunduğu şey oluyor. O yüzden ben kendi hayatımda
So my life,
ne kadar bazen bu tutumum beni pişman etse de hafif
in my life,
insanları dinlerim ama
what I do, I listen to the others, but I make my decision my own.
sorumluluğunu alırım.
And I undertake the responsibility of my own decisions.
Çoğu insan hayata karşı duyduğu güvensizlikten ötürü
Because many of the people cannot take these decisions because of the indecisiveness or hesitation. But if you take the decision of others, then you would live the others' life. And this is not possible that you would be happy then. For that reason,
şu çıkaramadım yani cehalet mutluluktur okumayı
but you should not understand from my speech that illiteracy is happiness. This is not what I'm saying.
merakla bir şeyleri araştırarak
We
kendinize
have to research and learn something with the curiosity inside. This is very important. This society is status quo society.
Eğitim alanı, bir şey bilip bilmediği insanlar maalesef çok bakmıyor. O son 12
So-
yılına Türkiye'de geldiği noktada
In Turkey,
ama sizde
for being educated for 12 years is sometimes a disadvantage. The difference that would create difference in you, the thing that would create a difference in you are the things that you would learn yourself. I speak English and I started learning Chinese. And then when I started learning Chinese, I started asking myself when this would make a good or use. But this doesn't happen. That's something that you have learned irrelevantly in future would certainly benefit you and make a use for you in future. More or less, these are the things I wanted to say. Take responsibility. This is very important. Most of the people, not only for the disabled people, for the standard normal individuals as well.
Kararlar veriyorlar ve sonunda
They make decisions and then they do not
aldığı kararlar sizin olsun.
come back from the decision they make. But pay attention when you are making your decision. I ask the question myself, do I want to be successful or happy? Because
Sevdiğinizse fena oluyor. Sevdiğiniz işi yaparak tatmin olup şey yapabiliyorsanız ne
if you can do something that it satisfies you, this is great. But I could not find yet this. With these resources, with this environment in Turkey, this is not something very possible in Turkey. Perhaps my understanding of success is actually for me being happy.
Çok teşekkürler Ekin Bey.
Thank you, Mr. Ekin. And in meanwhile, if you would like to ask a question to Mr. Ekin, you can ask in the chat box. And in meanwhile, once again, thank you.
Sadece özel gereksinimli birey olma haline dair o kapsamda bir konuşmadan ziyade
Rather than your speech, your being the needs of the needs for the disabled individuals, it was rather universal. It has got universal content regarding what we expect from life and learning. So it was really a comprehensive and inclusive speech.
Türkiye'deki çoğu engelli
Most of the disabled
ana yaşıyor.
individuals have got difficult conditions. I know this.
İmkansızlıkta anlattığım şeyler şey gibi gelebilir. Ki hak seviniyorum. Yani biz neyin halini, sen neyin halinisin gibi bir şey olabilir. Ama gerçekten düşündüğümüz zaman ben bu aralar şunu sorguluyorum. Ben
One way thing I always question this. I'm 20 years old, and I said that
yaşıma kadar yaşayacağımı varsaysam
I assume that I will live until
sadece 50 bahar
80 years.
50
The reward is the only spring.
bu süreci bunlar tabii ki yaşamak çünkü bu size olan ben hiçbir şey yapmayayım.
Then you might only think that then I should not do anything. But in every step, we have to be aware of our lives and happiness.
Evet, tam da başında konuştuğumuz
So as we mentioned at the very beginning, awareness is to be carried up to a certain level, and you have given us explanations on that. So thank you very much. Perhaps at the end of this session, we may have other questions. And now, thank you very much. Now I would like to give the floor to Seven Dayı and Selim Berker Yarar. And then I will give the floor Seven Ayşe Değil and journalist anthropologist until 2018 in different media channels wrote in culture and art. My mic is closed, so I don't know. So I will just repeat it. Seven Ayşe Değil is an anthropologist journalist, has worked until 28 in media channels in the culture and education and art, and also she worked in anthropology in different three schools, and with Halil Yıldız and Selim Berke, they established accessible everything, and they developed the content. And Selim Berke is a mechanics engineer. He received the sieving machine, and now he has received the patent of that machine, and he's also an instrument player.
Yardımcı teknoloji geliştirme ve fiziksel erişilebilirlik alanlarında çalışıyor kendisi. Tekrardan onlara
And once again, welcome and we thank them for being us here. And they will be also having a discussion. As I mentioned before, if you would have any questions, we would like to have them. And we can also have the questions at the end of the session.
Sedef, çok teşekkür ederim.
Thank you, Ms. Sedef.
Öncelikle ben
Well,
çocukluğumdan beri tedavi
since
gördüm.
my childhood,
Altında bugün
I have been receiving treatment and I have the pleasure being with you.
Bize aslında akışta serin birazcık başlayıp böyle kendi deneyimlerini anlatacak. Ben de
So first Serum will start and then give us
peki biz bunları yaşıyoruz ama
information and then I will elaborate on how not to experience these things from the perspective of education anthropologist. And Serim,
Teşekkür ederim sunum için.
thank you for the introduction
Hepiniz hoş geldiniz.
and welcome you all.
Kapsayıcı eğitimlerin benim
When we talk about inclusive education, I just
eğitim hayatım boyunca
recall my whole educational life because we experience so many interesting things. I say we experience because I do not experience only myself. It is not only related to myself, it's also related to my family as well. The problems experienced by the disabled people do not only include the disabled people as well, it includes the other parties, related parties.
bahsedecek çok şey var.
There are many things to mention. However,
Bir kronolojik gitmek istiyorum aslında.
I just would like to go chronologically
Anaokulda,
in kindergarten, in primary school, in high school.
olayları
There were so bizarre
karşılaştığım bu olayların
things.
çoğu da
So majority of them were not